From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Air India says one of its passenger planes with 244 people on board crashed today in India's northwestern city of Ahmedabad. Air India flight AI-171, a Boeing 787, crashed into a residential area called Meghani Nagar 5 minutes after taking off at 1:38 p.m. local time. The flight was bound for London's Gatwick Airport. Two former Canadian prime ministers and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith are among the notable names on the list of speakers today at a conference ahead of Sunday's start to the G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis, Alberta. The conference is hosted by the University of Calgary's School of Public Policy and its G7 research group as protests continue in Los Angeles and many other U.S. cities against the Trump administration's stepped-up immigration raids and its use of military troops to help. Preparations continue for the big military parade taking place in Washington, D.C. this Saturday. U.S. President Donald Trump turns 79 and the U.S. military turns 250. Reporter Victor Aquendo has an inside look.
The parade will feature nearly 7,000 soldiers, 28 tanks, as well as dozens of armored fighting vehicles, and just added mounted rocket launchers and precision-guided missiles.
A new study shows 15% of Canadian mothers who gave birth in 2022 or 23 were dismissed, laid off, or had contracts not renewed during pregnancy or mat leave. The report comes from advocacy group Moms at Work. Founder Allison Venditti says the research reflects that many companies see moms as distracted or less committed.
I'll be blunt in that they're easy targets. They haven't been there for a year. People, like out of sight, out of mind, and they're an easy thing to cut.
Venditti also believes mothers are losing their jobs during leave because companies bet they won't take legal action. And reaction is pouring in from around the world to news yesterday of the death of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys at age 82. One of the world's most influential musicians is praised for his genius by fellow icons Bob Dylan, Elton John, and the Monkees' Mickey Dolenz. Canadian music legends have weighed in too.
I'm lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did.
And former Bare Naked Ladies singer Stephen Page, who at 19 years old wrote an ode to the legend and called the song Brian Wilson, recalled the moment he found himself in a Toronto concert audience in the summer of 2000 and hearing Wilson open the show with his 1992 hit.
Every musician in Toronto was sitting, around us, and they all kind of turned their head to look at me. And I thought, do I stand up and wave, or do I hide, or what do I do? Absolute dream come true.
Page later joined Wilson and Paul Simon on stage to sing Wilson's Love and Mercy and the Beach Boys' Fun, Fun, Fun as part of the show's encore. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, after a couple of nights off, it's game night in the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton Oilers head coach Kris Knoblauch hasn't revealed yet who will start in Edmonton's net for Game 4. The Oilers pulled goalie Stuart Skinner in the third period of Monday's Game 3 after he'd allowed 5 goals. They dropped a 6-1 decision to the Florida Panthers. Knoblauch says the team would have no issue pivoting to back up Calvin Pickard.
Calvin's always been a guy that's been able to come in and given us good quality starts.
Edmonton trails the reigning champs 2-1 in the best-of-7 title series. The Indiana Pacers are back on top in the NBA Finals. Montreal's Benedict Mathurin scored a game-high 27 points off the bench as Indiana downed the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 3. Fellow Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 24 points for OKC, who trailed the series 2-1. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers kick off their CFL season tonight when they host the BC Lions. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.